Hi everyone, Congressional Hearing here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of this new Noah Kahan album, Stick Season, We'll All Be Here Forever. This is the third and latest LP to come from one of the biggest successes in the contemporary folk and singer-songwriter scene at the moment, Noah Kahan. His stuff has been such a hit lately that this album over here, which he dropped in 2022, he recently released this year, a revamped version of it with 7 additional tracks. The commotion around this record caused me to check it out and revisit with it several times. It unfortunately just didn't really stick with me, no pun intended, and the more I listen to this thing, the more I kind of have to resign to my initial impressions of it. That this album is so profoundly generic, I don't know why it's gained the steam that it has culturally. But maybe part of the reason Stick Season is seeing the reception that it is that in a way it's kind of filling the void left by the wave of stomp and holler folk that came and went years ago, and led to some of the most saccharine, corny, and detestable singer-songwriter music of the last 10 years, whether that be the Lumineers or Edward Sharpe and the Magnetic Zeros, also the worst moments in the Mumford & Sons discography. These records were big on presentation and ostentatious displays of acoustic guitars and vocal harmonies pumped up with as much reverb as a mix can possibly handle. And not only was the vast majority of this stuff mediocre, but it was a less impressive ripoff of the many underground indie folk artists who were just putting out better stuff. Fleet Foxes, Tallest Man on Earth, the list goes on. And look, this style isn't completely gone from the music world. It still has its torchbearers, maybe the most notable of them today being Ireland's Hosier. However, whatever parallels he has to this stomp, clap, crap, I don't really give him too much guff over because he does actually bring some real substance to his music. The guy has great vocal range, actual guitar chops, seems to put a lot of thought into his lyrics, which sometimes can be conceptual. I can't really say the same for Noah over here though, whose instrumentals are about as bland as they come for this genre, laced with formulaic drama and basic chord progressions, and the lack of versatility across the track list of the record is made worse by this thing being 21 tracks as opposed to 14. The point I'm trying to make here is that this sound and style fell out of mainstream favor for a while. It had its run and maybe people got a little sick of it, maybe the artists who popularized it started coming out with less successful records, but even if this style has kind of dropped out of the spotlight a bit, I still think it resonated with people emotionally for some reason, and that the itch these albums were scratching, it's still there. If it wasn't, I don't think Mumford & Sons and Lumineers would be netting tens of millions of monthly listeners every year. And I think that's why Noah Kahan today and his popularity makes sense. And one thing I can give Noah on this album is that seemingly he is unafraid to go to some frank and dark and gritty places with his lyrics. I mean, look at the storytelling and nods toward substance abuse that he has on tracks like Dial Drunk, which for sure is a change of pace from the usual aspirational and melodramatic schlock that is attached to this sound, which makes me feel like I'm watching a Big Pharma TV commercial for SSRIs. However, with Noah, I feel like I'm watching roughly the same ad, but now it's being spearheaded by a marketing agency that is a lot hipper and kind of gets what Zoomers and younger millennials want in their drug commercials. So yeah, while Noah may be different than some of those artists who came before him in this lane, ultimately he still relies on this vague, washed out indie folk pastiche as well as fresh-faced, marketable, boyish charm to carry the emotional payload of this project. Whether you're talking about some of the more stripped back and tender moments of this record, or even when he's going a little bit Americana with She Calls Me Back. So yeah, same old, just a bit more bittersweet on the lyrical side, which is still just not enough to get me into this sound, as this whole record and its many songs just kind of melt together into singer-songwriter wallpaper for me. For the most part, it's listenable, but not really all that special. I'm feeling a decent 2 strong 4 on this thing. Transition, have you given this record a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please don't cry and please don't die. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head is another video you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Noah Kahan, forever.